So if you want to get started in home bartending, but you're afraid that you can't because you live in a small shared space with roommates, then this is the correct video for you. My name is Ron Vierpin. I'm a full-time medical doctor, and I've been a home bartender for over 5 years now. During that time, I've learned how to make over 100 different cocktails, and I've thrown over 50 cocktail parties. And I teach other busy professionals how to make cocktails at home. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing 3 main strategies that I feel will help you guys effectively start home bartending, even if you live in a small shared space with roommates. And I feel very qualified to speak about this topic because although I didn't start home bartending until June 2020, when I finally moved out and had my own space, my own apartment, I had thought about home bartending many times before that. And during that time, I was living in dorms. I had roommates. I lived in Airbnb with other people. I lived with my parents and my family for a certain time. So I thought about home bartending during all of those different occasions. And I used the whole limitation of space and the whole fact that I was living with other people as things that held me back from getting started into home bartending. But if I know what I know now, I would have been able to start home bartending even back then. And the 3 tips I lay out in this video will help you guys do that. So while I think it's great that you should strive towards, having your own place, having more space to do home bartending and, just for your own general benefit and for your own life, I think that even if you're in a certain situation where you have to live with roommates, you're still in college, you're still in graduate school, you're still getting started with your career, whatever the case may be. And, if you still live in a small shared space with roommates or your family or, other people, whatever the case may be, you could still get started on home bartending. And I don't want to let those limitations hold you guys back. That was a very big barrier for me. And it held me back from getting started on home bartending many years before I actually finally did. But in this video, I'm going to be sharing those 3 strategies with you guys. And the first is to go ahead and use bottled juice for both lime juice and lemon juice, and not just for these, but for really all the different juices, grapefruit juice, pineapple juice, whatever the case may be. And there's a couple different reasons for this. The primary reason is that these take up way less space. For example, this bottle of lime juice from Nelly and Joe's Key West lime juice contains 16 fluid ounces. Just for reference, the average lime contains somewhere between ½ an ounce and 1 ounce of lime juice. So this simple bottle takes up the same amount of, has the same amount of juice as 16 to 32 limes. And although limes are not very big, 16 to 32 limes is still way bigger than just this one bottle. And that's the same is true for lemon juice and pineapple juice and grapefruit juice and whatever the case may be. The bottles take up way less space than the actual fruits themselves will. So if you just put these in your fridge, you're sharing your fridge with your parents or your roommates or whatever the case may be, these will be far less intrusive, take up way less space than just having a giant fruit bowl with tons of limes and lemons and other fruits in there. So that's why these are good. And the other reason is that these are just way more shelf stable. These will last much longer in your fridge and go bad less quickly than fresh limes, fresh lemons, and whatever other fruits you're considering. And when you're living in a shared space, you may be limited on money as well. So I don't want you to go ahead and waste your money by buying fresh limes, fresh lemons. The taste will be slightly better with those things, but just in terms of practicality, these are much more shelf stable and they take up way less space. So if you're limited on time and money and space and things like that, these are way more effective to use. So if you want to get started in home bartending, but you're watching all these other bartenders on YouTube and they're telling you to go ahead and always buy fresh limes, fresh lemons, fresh grapefruits, whatever the case may be, fresh oranges, I think that's all great. I think if you have the means to do it, go ahead and do that. But, I would say I live in my own space now. I have a great apartment and I've been very experienced. I've been doing this home bartending thing for over 5 years now. I still use these. If you come to my apartment and you ask for a margarita or a daiquiri or, a gin gimlet, I'm going to be using bottled lime juice. I'm not going to be using fresh limes. Even this far into my journey, these are far more practical just in terms of shelf stability, in terms of space, in terms of cost benefits. These are going to be the workhorses. So if you're feeling like, you're limited on space in your pantry or your fridge or whatever for fresh fruits and you feel like that's holding you back, just go ahead and buy bottled lime juice or bottled lemon juice. These are way cheaper than buying the equivalent amount of limes and lemons. These are way more shelf stable. These take up way less space. So that's why these are so much more effective for home bartending. Professional bartenders, I think they should still use fresh stuff. But when you're home bartending, you're limited on space, you're limited on time, you're limited on money. And these are going to be the things that really save you going ahead and buying bottled lime juice and lemon juice and other fruit juices as well. Now, the second tip I have for you is going to be just demonstrated by this bottle of gin. And when you're limited on space and probably money as well, you don't want to go ahead and just buy 10 different bottles or 15 different bottles or 20 different bottles to start your home bar. I think you should just go ahead and buy one bottle to start your home bar. And that could be a bottle of gin like this. It can also be tequila, rum, whiskey, vodka, cognac, whatever the case may be. Pick one bottle and just make cocktails using that bottle. So, if you want to get started on home bartending, you don't have a lot of space, you don't have a lot of money, you don't want all these bottles taking up your space, your roommates hogging up all the pantry space, all the shelf space, whatever the case may be. Just go ahead and buy, one bottle. It won't take up that much space. Buy one bottle of gin, and then make a bunch of gin cocktails. Make the bee's knees, make the gin gimlet, make a gin and tonic. Make all these different classic cocktails. Make a margarita. Make all these. Not a margarita. Make a martini, and make all these different cocktails and variations and things like that use gin. And then make sure you use up that bottle. Then when the bottle of gin is finished, go ahead and buy a bottle of rum. Make the daiquiri. Make the Cuba Libre. Make the dark and stormy. Make a bunch of different rum cocktails, and then really master rum, and then go on to the next bottle. So that way, for your home bar, you don't need to go ahead and have like 5 different bottles at once, 10 different bottles at once, 15 different bottles at once. Just buy 1 or 2 bottles, make drinks that use that bottle, use up those ingredients, and then master those ingredients, master those cocktails that call for those ingredients. Then go ahead and move on to the next bottle and make cocktails that use those ingredients. And that's how you really can build up your knowledge as a home bartender without having to go out to the liquor store and buy all these different bottles. And you don't want to be that roommate that hogs up all the space in your pantry or your kitchen shelves or whatever the case may be. You want to be considerate. Just go ahead and buy one or 2 bottles, make a bunch of cocktails that call for those ingredients, serve those cocktails to other people, maybe even throw a party that features cocktails using that ingredient. And then once you feel like you've mastered that and you finish the bottle, then move on to the next bottle. So that way, at any given time, maybe you only have somewhere between 1 and 3 bottles in your kitchen or your pantry, as opposed to having, like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, whatever the case may be, different bottles throughout your kitchen and throughout your pantry, throughout your bar cart, whatever the case may be. So that's going to be the second tip. And finally, the last tip is to go ahead and just use solo cups. When you're limited really on that shelf space and things like that, you really can't go ahead and buy coupe glasses and snifters and lowball glasses and highball glasses and wine glasses and beer pints and all these different types of glassware that you feel like you might need as a home bartender. When you're making drinks, you can obviously just use the cups that are always available to you. If you already have a coffee cup, just go ahead and use that. If you already have a glass that you use for water, use that to serve your cocktails in. But if you really don't want to go ahead and take up all of the space in your cupboards by buying all of this fancy glassware for your cocktails, when you have your own place, you have your own apartment, your own house, whatever the case may be, then you can go ahead and do that. But if you feel like you're limited on cupboard space, you don't want to go ahead and buy glassware, then something that you can do that doesn't really take up a lot of space is just use solo cups. Even 5+ years into my home bartending journey, I throw a lot of parties, and I almost always use plastic cups, like solo cups or other types of plastic cups for that reason. They don't take up a lot of space. You don't feel like you have to have tons of different glassware. And on top of that, they're also very, very easy for cleanup compared to glassware. You don't have to go ahead and use a dishwasher or do the dishes yourself, whatever the case may be. You can just, at the end of the night, just pour out all the ingredients in the sink that are still left in the cups, rinse out the cups, and just put them in your recycling. That'll take care of everything. So, just to summarize, if you're limited on space and probably also time and money as a home bartender, you live with roommates, whatever the case may be, there are really there are a lot of different things you can do to help yourself to get started in home bartending. I don't want that to hold you guys back. There are really 3 main strategies that I've laid out in this video. One is to go ahead and use bottled lime juice, lemon juice, and other fruit juices to save on space, to be more cost effective, to have increased shelf stability. And for a number of other reasons, I think these are going to be excellent choices for you guys. If you feel like you're limited on space and that's holding you back, go ahead and just buy bottled lime or lemon juice. That'll really help you guys out a lot. Then the next tip, when you're going ahead and building out your home bar in terms of the alcoholic ingredients, don't feel like you have to go out and buy 5, 10, 15, 20 different bottles all at once. Just go ahead and buy somewhere between 1 and 3 bottles. I would say even just 1 is fine. And make all the different cocktails that use that ingredient, finish that bottle, and then move on to the next bottle. That way your roommate won't feel like you're hogging up all the kitchen and pantry space with all of your different bottles for your home bartending hobby. Just buy 1 bottle, make all the cocktails with that. Once that bottle's done, then move on to the next bottle. That way, you only really have one to three bottles at any given time in your fridge or your pantry or your kitchen counters, whatever the case may be. And then finally, if you feel like you're limited on cupboard space, you don't want to take up all of that by buying a set of low ball glasses, high ball glasses, wine glasses, coupe glasses, everything. Just go ahead and use solo cups. These are very good utility, multi-purpose. You can serve beer in them, you can serve wine in them, you can serve cocktails in them, low ball cocktails, high ball cocktails, build cocktails, stirred cocktails, shaken cocktails. Any type of drink will go well in a cocktail, not a cocktail, any type of cocktail will go well in a solo cup. And it'll be very easy to clean up at the end of the night, especially after a big party. You just pour out all the ingredients, rinse out the glasses, stack the cups up, and then put them in your recycling. Very easy for cleanup as well. So that's just an added benefit on top of the fact that you're saving time, you're saving space, you're saving money, all those different things. So if you follow the different tips that I laid out in this video, you'll be able to get started on home bartending, even if you have a small space, even if you're limited on space, even if you have roommates or you live with family or whatever the case may be. Don't let that hold you back the way it held me back. Follow the tips in this video and you can get started on home bartending despite what your own situation might be. Anyways, that's all the advice that I have for this video. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you found the advice in this video helpful. I like to do two styles of videos on this channel. The first style will be more tutorials on how to make specific cocktails, and the second style will be more like this type of video where I do guides, tips and tricks, and share stories and things like that I hope will help you guys become better home bartenders. Thank you. Cheers.